Welcome back to another hot learn party. Now, we talked about dating and advice on how to get a girl. But now I want to swing to. No, not like that. Not swing. I want to flip to the end of the dating journey, getting married. You may have heard a few months ago, I got married. It was a hell of an adventure. A heck of a lot of work, too. A wedding is a video on its own. But obviously the question arises, and I had been asked, why should you get married? Or how do you know it's time to get married? Well, I'm glad you asked. So first off, when you're dating, you should be very aware of the idea of marriage. I mean, obviously you are. I'm not saying anything crazy here. That doesn't mean you have to or should even consider bringing it up early on, especially when you're young. High school dating, don't worry about it. If you're dating in college or around that time, it may start to become an issue the closer you get to graduation. On that note, there will be a time, probably around that age, when someone you know is going to be getting married. I still remember the time I was directing a play in college and my lead actor, who was a senior in his last semester, told me his fiancée was going to swing by the dress rehearsal to drop something off for him. I was stoic in the moment, but inside I was like, whoa, fiancée. It was like things suddenly get a little more real because, yeah, once someone is engaged, like on your level, it does become a little more real. You may remember the first time it happened to you. So dating can be broken down into a few phases. Right off, you have those first dates. Obviously, that is your first date and could usually run probably not past your fifth, give or take. And again, depending on your age, like if you're in high school or something, that could be a little bit higher number, but won't likely run much longer if you're older. At this point, you're getting to know each other, and it's about these dates and what happens on them. And then at some point after those initial first dates, you're going to move into the casual dating category. Basically, you're moving into this category probably when things get a little bit physical. So somewhere in those first dates, maybe the first, maybe the third, whatever, you both decided you like each other enough to do something. Yes, these days, most people, it's going to be something like sex, but it doesn't actually have to be that much. It could just be kissing, making out, whatever. Somehow, the relationship, the date will get a little bit physical. There's a shift there. There's a comfort with each other. That's the point. And once that physical connection has been made, you're really going to be moving into the casual dating stage. So you're going out again, you're going to be doing stuff together. You aren't sitting there debating whether you want to see her again, and she's not sitting by her phone wondering if you'll message. At some point, there's a little confidence, at least the relationship is going for now. You may even make some short-term plans, like, hey, there's a show coming up in a couple weeks, want to go? That sort of thing. Now, as that transition from those first dates to casual dating is based on sort of active decisions to get physical and moving the relationship like that, the transition from casual dating to sort of long-term relationship is kind of based solely on time. Now, you may argue, you may not like it, you may say this is not how you view it or that's not what you lay out, but let me be clear, it doesn't really matter. After about 3 months or so, you are moving into a long-term relationship whether you like it or not. When you're in this stage, it involves meeting more friends and family, making more long-term plans, possibly even planning a vacation or something similar. Now, we can have many videos about this shift. Obviously, some guys just want to stay in the casual dating section and not have the added responsibilities of a long-term relationship. That's because they're dating what Homath calls sleepers. They just want it casual, they just kind of maybe want the sex from it, they just want nothing else. They want no more obligations. That's all for later. For now, just realize it's there and it happens whether you want it or not. Once you're going past that certain time, you're sticking around and you keep seeing her 3 months, maybe 4 months tops. She's going to expect you to be in a long-term relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, anything like that. It just happens and you just have to realize that. Now from there, you can move into a very long-term relationship. This one isn't as definite because it can vary a little bit with school and similar obligations. It's definitely somewhere from a year, but probably a year and a half to maybe 2 years. This is where it's starting to become time to make a decision or not. At this point, I know marriage has come up. Don't act like it didn't. Maybe you didn't bring it up, but she sure did. Her cousin got married. You watch some romantic comedy where they get married in the end. She might have said something hinting about it or asking about it. Something happened, you talked about it, or she tried to talk about it. The truth is, you've thought about it, even if you didn't want to. And maybe you had reason that you didn't want to. You liked the vibe that was going, but you need to make a decision. Do you want to marry this girl? It's a commitment for the rest of your life, and that can be a little scary. So how do you decide? Well, let me tell you the ways. Should you get married? Number one, ask yourself, do you want to have a family with this woman? Now, maybe you don't want kids right now, or you don't want kids at all, but ultimately the reason marriage exists is for the creation of a new family, your family. So ask yourself, is this the mother of your children? No, I did not say is she the baby mama. Is she the mother of your children? And as some point out, she is not your mother, she is the mother of your children. And yes, I know there's also situations where one of you can't have kids, or maybe one of you already has kids. I'm putting that aside for right now. We'll be discussing never married couples with no kids. Now, there's one other simple question if you are still sure, or you just need another way to look at it. It's a classic question for a man. I call it the grandpa question. It's this: would you want to come home from work to her? It's that simple. Is she someone you want to come home to? Now, at this stage, you may have already moved in together, or at least staying with each other part-time. If you go to her place, or if she's staying at your place and you go there, does it feel like home? Have you ever just been eating dinner and maybe playing a game or watching Cobra Kai on Netflix, and it just sort of feels like home? That's a sign this is the one to marry. Why? Because wives make homes, and marriages make families. Those are the two pillars of whether you should get married or not. Home and family. That is what you are building together. You're doing it for yourselves and for the future. That is your future self. The thing is, on some level, if you've been dating for over a year, you already had these instincts. You know that, you felt it. Asking yourself these questions helps focus those instincts into thoughts and then actions. Now, for a personal story from my family, why I called it the grandpa question, because it really came from my grandpa. Way back when he was dating my grandmother, he said to her, "Hey, you would be pretty nice to come home to." And she replied, "Are you asking me to marry you?" And he said, "I guess I am." It's not exactly the most romantic proposal, but it covered the essentials and of what it would be for him to be married. He would be coming home to her, and he realized he kind of liked that. That's an important instinct, an important feeling, and don't disregard those. Your instincts are telling you something. Now, also to be clear, I know there's various red flags and important reasons not to get married, but look, if you went through the two previous questions, then had doubts because of red flags or other stuff from the relationship so that you don't want to get married, you should probably end your relationship. Stretching it out doesn't help either of you. Now, this isn't a video on breaking up, it's about why to get married. So that's what we're focusing on. We cover that, you get engaged, and then you get married. Those are sort of the final steps of the relationship. Now, how long should the engagement last? I would normally say not more than a year. If your engagement is dragging out for a year or even multiple years, really, what's the point? You're not engaged, you're just in a very long-term relationship and using different terms. The obvious exception is if you're still in school. Planning a wedding is a lot of work, but don't use that as an excuse to put things off. You can still pick a date. Honestly, you should have a date picked within 3 months of getting engaged, even if that date is over a year and a half out because you want to finish your degree or something. Putting off picking a date by either you or her is a clear sign one of you doesn't want to get married. In which case, maybe it's better to call it all off. You need to embrace this. This is literally no different than the advice on first asking a girl on a date. Be assertive. Know what you want. I know people who were engaged for like 2 years without ever even picking a date. Guess what? It didn't work out. Wasted time and life. And if you want a personal reference, I got engaged on Christmas Eve, December 24th. Our wedding was then May 24th, exactly 5 months later. Various factors went into that, and we didn't really feel like waiting for the better part of a year, so it ended up being 5 months for a full wedding. It can be done. Now, for well over a decade, the conversation in male circles, such as they exist, has been decidedly anti-marriage. The rise of social media has led to a massive influx of horror stories about divorce, alimony, custody battles, all the horrible stuff. Many guys have simply decided to check out. Nope, not for me, they say. I even had someone from my community reach out that he was worried about me getting married, as I could end up regretting it later. Now, I would like to say pick a better woman. That's part of it. But honestly, if the state of women is bad, then the state of men is worse. Here's the thing. You must create the world and life you want to live in. If you want a happy marriage and family, then you have to create it. Be strong and guide the relationship and the marriage. It's not about being a prick or being selfish. It's about being the leader, the man she wants to be married to. If you do this, it will happen naturally. Issues and problems arise. That's okay. They always do. So what? You can overcome them, but what you can't do is let life pass you by because you can't get that back. You can't sit idle. Life will always be what you make of it. Your future self is waiting for you, counting on you to do something. So go out there and make your life something great. Then realize your future self can go ahead and then make that even better. Thank you for coming to the Learn Party.